I sink like a fucking rock. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, this is Andy with Mindset Matters More. And I was thinking about, I went scuba diving with my husband and my daughter in Puerto Rico. And I don't know what was happening, but I was just sinking right down to the floor of the ocean. And if you're in a coral reef, you don't want to do that. So I was trying to learn how to balance between sinking down to the bottom of the ocean and floating all the way to the top. Because every time I would add a little bit of air to my vest, like they have this vest that has an automatic air filler upper thing, I don't know, it would shoot you right up to the surface of the water. So I'm trying to balance that because you want to be floating like a little bit off the ocean floor. You don't want to be on the floor, obviously, but you also don't want to be snorkeling. I mean, you're scuba diving, right? You're supposed to be underwater. And so I just kept fucking sinking. Like, I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening to me. Like, I'm trying to see the fishies. And nope, I was down at the bottom. But, once I got the hang of it, it was such a beautiful experience. And I was thinking about how, everything is like that in life. You don't want a little bit too much air, but you also don't want to be at the bottom. You don't want to be too strong, but you don't want to be too weak. Like, there's just so much to balance out in life. And this was such a great opportunity. I mean, scuba diving is so fun. If you get the opportunity to do it, I highly recommend it. And so the entire time I'm like sitting there trying to master this skill of what, and it just seems so easy for my husband. It seems so easy for my daughter. They just got the hang of it. And I was like, wow. I am usually somebody who quickly picks up on things, but this was not the case for this. It was like, I was just trying to show the teacher like what the hell is happening, and I would just float right to the bottom and he'd add a little bit of air and whoop right to the top. I just could not stay floating in the center. It was very weird. This is very surreal. And yeah, so I'm not great at everything, which is a blow to the ego, right? I mean, I'm not perfect. What? Are you crazy? So, yeah, it was a new skill, but I figured it out eventually. Turns out I have to just keep swimming. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Who said that? Dory? Finding Nemo? That's what I had to do, was just keep swimming. I'm just gonna attribute it to all my big old muscles that I was just like sinking, that I was too dense for the ocean. But that was my experience. Scuba diving really had a lot of lessons in there. They're very beautiful lessons. Not only about, being humble enough to have to learn something that you think you should just get, but also, the fact that like not everything is to the extreme. Like you don't want to be at the bottom, you don't want to be at the top, and blah 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 and all that wonderful stuff. And just being underwater was actually very weird. The first couple of times they have you practicing in the shallow area because a lot of people freak out. I was one of those, my husband was one of those, my daughter was, we all freaked out because it's like you're breathing underwater. But once we got the hang of it, it was so much fun. Um, but yeah, that's my scuba diving experience, you guys. You know, I think I, I feel so lucky to be able to have these experiences in my life. I never really would have thought that I would ever go scuba diving. Just, I don't know. It seems like such a hassle, seems like such a big ordeal, but it really wasn't. It was a lot of fun. And I hope I get to do it again. I mean, maybe not in Puerto Rico. Maybe I'll go to Hawaii and go snorkeling or scuba diving. You see, maybe I'm just built to go snorkeling. Maybe my body is just meant to be at the surface. Well, anyways, guys, that's it for me today. Love you guys. Bye.